My next guest is my friend Mel Fine, a proud non-binary artist and Berklee graduate whose music defies labels, blending pop, soul, and folk into something uniquely their own. You can't put Mel in a box, and that's exactly why their sound stands out. Mel, welcome to the show.
Norman, thank you so much for having me. Love to be here.
Absolutely. So tell us about your musical journey. So tell us, I've been seeing your videos. You went to Berklee. What got you into music in the first place?
I'm about to out myself. I was a big theater kid. And I just loved being in musical theater as a kid. I was in my first musical when I was 5. I was one of the orphans in Annie. And then I realized that I'm not so good at acting, but I love telling stories through music.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of the weird oddball in school. And when other people had their friends, I had a lot of feelings to myself. So I started writing songs.
Yeah.
I released my first album at 14 and it charted, which was a little wild. It was in the iTunes top 50 for albums, which maybe I peaked when I was 14. I don't know. But yeah, that's sort of what started me off. And then I wanted to do music as a career, but I didn't know how to make that happen. And my mentor, Lisa, who is amazing, we talk to this day. She's been, I call her my music mom. She's been my voice teacher since I was 7. She was like, you can study songwriting and music production. And I really took that in and decided to go to Berklee. I first did a summer program there and got a scholarship through that summer program. So I went to Berklee, double majored in songwriting and music production and engineering. Not me forgetting what I majored in.
Fantastic.
And now moved to LA right after graduation. And now I've just been working as a freelance songwriter, producer, artist.
Yeah.
And so that's basically the chronology of my existence. But I hope that answers your question.
No, absolutely. How was your time at Berklee? Well, first of all, tell me about your first album. That's incredible. It was in like the top charts and you were only 14 years old.
So here's the situation.
Right.
It's been cleansed from the internet, thankfully. I came out as non-binary when I was 20. I'm 25 now.
Mm-hmm.
And the album was under my dead name.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a really great time capsule of where I was then. And I'm really happy I had the experience of doing it. It motivated me to continue and showed me that if I really do tell my stories, that other people will be receptive to them. And maybe other people have felt the same way.
Yeah.
So I think it was the first time that I felt like music brought me to other people who feel the same way. And that's kind of the core of my music, is wanting to share my stories so that other people who think they're alone in feeling that don't. Like, they know that I'm here too.
Yeah.
So, it was really, I don't know if I would be where I am without having recorded that album. And I'm glad there's no sign of her on the internet because I was like, a child.
Sure.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we always cringe at like what we used to do as little children or like, as maybe as teenagers, because like you go back at it and as artists, we're very critical. So we're like, oh my God, like I wrote that. I got to rewrite that, Like, do you ever feel like that? Like when you look
truly all the time, even songs that I don't have out yet that I have recorded.
Yeah.
I'm like, what was I thinking? And by the time I release it, I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's a habit that I need to get out of. But I'm trying to work on I'm trying to stop judging my past self and just looking at myself with a bit more compassion.
Yes.
Because I tend to be so hard on myself. I don't know if you can relate as a fellow creative.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I can definitely relate to that. It's terrible because sometimes it's like you are constantly wanting to change something. And then you're spending hours wanting to change that certain thing, that aspect, and you've wasted time. So I think that's just the pain of being a passionate artist. But it does help sometimes at the same time because we pay attention to detail. But It is very annoying.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the reasons why we relate so hard is our perfectionism and drive to always improve,
I agree.
which is great. And also personally in myself drives me nuts.
Yes.
So.
Oh my gosh. So at Berklee, you studied songwriting. And how was your time at Berklee? Did you have a good time studying there?
I loved it. I mean, I was so lucky that I got to go there.
Yeah.
Again, I had a scholarship, which Berklee's not cheap, and they're pretty stingy with scholarships.
Yes,
So
yes.
it was really just like serendipitous that it all worked out, and it was already in the state that I was from. So just nice. Yeah, it was interesting being one of the only non-binary people in like my year at Berklee. There were definitely a few others. But so I majored in songwriting and like music production engineering.
Okay.
So I was really, up until my senior year, I was, I think, the only non-binary person in the studios at Berklee. And again, there were others. Like, it's not like it was just me, but it felt very isolated.
It did, yeah.
But yeah, okay. First I'll talk about the songwriting, then I'll talk about the production. But I loved the songwriting department. It was very cool. Just, hearing like my classmates' songs,
Yes.
sharing. I do definitely think I've grown as a writer. And a caveat is they teach you so many things that I kind of fell into like a template of, okay, if I do this and put this part of the story here and this part of the story here,
Right.
and this structure for this chorus, then that'll be a good song. And so now that I've graduated and I'm, 2 years out, I'm trying to actually move away from the template I've created for myself. But overall, like the people I met was just like, I'm still in touch with so many of them, and it's just an amazing experience.
Compared to Boston and LA, how are you liking like the two different cities so far? Like,
I love LA. It was a huge adjustment. I was not used to driving everywhere. And I have OCD, so the like vivid, pictures of me like hitting a pedestrian, even though that's never gonna happen and never happened, just like circle through my mind every time I get in a car. It's just I'm not a fan of driving. That's what my boyfriend's for. He drives me places. Hi Graham.
shout out to Graham.
Shout out to Graham. But no, in all seriousness, I really love LA. Cliche, but love the weather. Amazing. But I feel a little bit more of a sense of relief here. Boston, while, it is in Massachusetts, very liberal place, I think it still does have like a lot of like old cis white straight ideals. Yeah. And I think one thing I love about LA is the people who are from LA are so chill. And then the transplants are all transplants. So, we can't judge each other because we're all going to judge each other. We can't. Yeah. But just like, I really haven't had many issues here so far. And I'm so fortunate to be able to say that.
That's good.
But yeah, I just love it. There's every type of food. The food is so good. Oh my God.
And LA is amazing.
Yeah. Delicious.
You guys, like, we don't cook. Well,
I need to eat out less, but anyway. Okay, I have to know. I know you're conducting this interview, but now so am I.
Yes.
What is your favorite restaurant?
Laurel Hardware is like one of my favorites. It's really convenient. It's great. It's really, really beautiful. The outside looks like a hardware store, and the inside is like so beautiful. And it's even the outdoor patio and everything. And they have the best short rib pasta, so good, and the best what's it called, toffee pudding. Oh my gosh, it's served hot with a little bit of cream on the side. Oh my gosh. I always order dessert. I'm just like,
as you should. Order that dessert. YOLO.
Yes, you only live once.
I said that ironically.
Tell me about like how you put your artistry, like you put your stories into your music. I remember like you had a song about coming out. Tell me about that, and like how you also talk about like your identity through your music.
It's really funny you mentioned that specific song because I didn't actually put two and two together that I was non-binary until I finished writing that song.
Oh,
The song that Norm was referencing is called In Between. I released it in 2020 and it's out if you want to check it out.
check it out, please.
You would see me with pink hair, vintage Mel. But it's just, I use writing music as a way to make sense of my own feelings. I often come to realizations like while I'm writing the song about the feeling. For instance, I actually wrote In Between for a class at Berklee. It was a biography song, essentially. It was like a song about yourself.
Yeah.
And I was kind of describing like my experience not feeling like the other girls around me. And the first time I really felt good in my body was when I wore a suit to my junior prom. And, you know, it had been a few years since then, but that moment was just so pivotal to me, being like, oh, there are clothes that I can feel comfortable in. They just aren't the women's clothes that I've been, you know, encouraged to put on my whole life. Every single person has a different experience of gender. And I continue to this day to use music to explore my feelings in relationships, my feelings about navigating the world as a non-binary person.
Yep.
When the world is not set up for someone like me. And, you know, like I have a lot of privileges as it is, and still like this is hard.
Yes, absolutely.
So I just like can't imagine how it is for, you know, folks with shared identities and like even more identities that are oppressed in the US.
Absolutely.
Especially like I'm, you know, disabled. I have a condition in my back that is not fun. And I'm neurodivergent. So it's all coming through in my music.
When you're performing live, got seen you perform live, and you and Graham seem just so comfortable, no fears at all. Do you ever get stage fright?
Sometimes. Honestly, the part that gets me about performing is not the performance itself, unless I'm playing guitar. If Graham is not there and I'm playing alone and playing guitar, I get stage fright for sure.
Yeah.
But the part that always trips me up is actually the logistics about like when to get there, when sound check, and that's the part I get fright about.
Yes.
But if all I have to do is show up and sing, I'm just so excited to do it. I love to do it.
How does your family feel about your artistry and everything? Like they're receptive to it? How are they?
I'm so lucky to have a very supportive family. My dad is really like, he comes to every show that he possibly can. He flies out for my shows sometimes, just like so supportive, and he always has been. My mom is obsessed with my music, which is so kind. She's always my like hype head girl, which I really appreciate because I know it's not normally like that. I think my parents have instilled in me a sense of delusion that I feel like I can, you know, make it.
Yes.
Which honestly, thanks guys, because if they didn't do that, then I wouldn't be trying, and I love that I'm trying.
And also tell us about this fit, because like you always dress so well. Every time I have a guest on, all my guests that come on this show are always like dressed in the nines.
This shirt is from Melrose Trading Post. If you're in LA and haven't been to Melrose Trading Post,
Yes.
you have to go. It's on Sundays. You should go.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Amazing, just like, you know, having you here and hearing about your art. Tell us about your newest single that's come out recently.
Okay. So I have a little surprise happening. I have a single coming out in October. It's a cool one. It's catchy. I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's gonna be like maybe a little existential, maybe a little relatable, I hope, sort of. And very expository of how I actually am when I'm not put together. Get ready. October 3rd.
October 3rd.
Mean Girls Day. I'm on all socials besides Twitter, X, whatever it's called. All socials at Mel Fine Music. You can also check me out on melfinemusic.com, and more shows will be on my website.